second appearance of the day of the Czech Air Force, and in its way, another highly historic moment for this Duxford Battle of Britain Air Show this year. We saw the Mi-35, the Hind attack helicopter, paired with the Mi-171 earlier. Well, now we're going to see it in a solo display, but a very significant solo display, because this is going to be the last chance to see a Hind in service with the Czech Air Force at a British display. These magnificent helicopters are due to be retired from service by the Czech Republic around the end of this year, beginning of next, and they're not slated to come back to this country again. And this is a sight that's been seen in Czech service since air shows in the mid-1990s began welcoming the former Warsaw Pact Air Forces to the UK, now very much as friends, and at the International Air Tattoos at RAF Fairford in particular, we saw some memorable team displays by Czech Hinds, one of which in 1995 by a 3-ship display won that year's Sir Douglas Bader Trophy for Best Overall Flying Demonstration. And now this is the last of those Czech Hind demonstrations in the UK. Specially applied to this aeroplane. It comes from the 221st Helicopter Squadron based at Náměšť nad Oslavou, and that unit, or rather that base I should say, specifically today holds the traditions of the only Czechoslovak manned bomber squadron to serve as part of the RAF during World War II, number 311 Squadron, which operated first the Vickers Wellington and then the Consolidated Liberator. So, painted on one side of the Hind is a depiction of a Wellington, on the other side the Liberator. Also part of the colour scheme are tiger stripes, because the 221st Helicopter Squadron is one of 2 units in the Czech Air Force, which is a member of the NATO Tiger Association, the organisation formed in 1961 that brings together units from across the NATO alliance that have either a tiger or nowadays also other big cats in their emblem. It's just another example of how firmly these former Warsaw Pact assault helicopters have been integrated into the NATO alliance. The profile of the Hind is so distinctive, with those 2 separate tandem cockpits up front. The gunner sits in front, the pilot in the raised position behind. But it wasn't always so. When the Hind was originally conceived by the Mill Design Bureau, this is a helicopter that first flew as far back as 1969. It had a single cockpit up front. And rather more was made then of the fact of the having a significant assault lift capability as well as attack attributes. That began to change when the Soviets started using these helicopters operationally and again refined their tactics, particularly As a result of the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in 1979 to 80, the Hind was very successful, but they changed the concept of operations, making less use of its transport capacity. As for the Czechs, well, Czechoslovakia started using the Mi-24D model 40 years ago this year. Mi-24Ds were received from 1985. They even used to mount a quick reaction alert, QRA, air defense capability against slow-moving targets during the Cold War days. 62 Hinds were delivered between 1982 and 92. When Czechoslovakia broke up at the end of that year, 34 of them were carried on into service with the Czech Air Force. And then, in part payment of a Russian debt to the Czech Republic, 10 new Mi-35 models like this were taken on in 2003. Type used for close air support and combat search and rescue missions primarily. 17 of them now still in service with the 221st Helicopter Squadron. And as it comes to the hover, an excellent view of the two stub wings on which can be mounted much of this helicopter's firepower. The four 86 spiral radio-guided anti-tank missiles would be carried in two each in cylindrical containers on those pylons. You can also carry rockets and automatic grenade launchers, and up front at the business end, the twin-barreled 23mm GSH-23 cannon. Still in service with the modern Czech Air Force, types such as the MiG-21, 23 and 29, and the Sukhoi Su-22 having long since been retired in favour of Western equipment. These last remaining Hinds are going to go the same way, replaced by the Bell UH-1Y and AH-1Z from next year onwards. their final bow of an excellent display sequence. Pilot Major Vaktav Spartek, co-pilot Captain Martin Miensil and the flight engineer Warrant Officer Jan Suchanek, together from the 221st Helicopter Squadron of the Czech Air Force for the last time in the UK with the MIL Mi-35. And a very fitting tribute by the Czech Air Force at Duxford this weekend to their forebears who flew from this airfield in 1940. Now, I mentioned earlier how it was at the then International Air Tattoo, now the Royal International Air Tattoo at RAF Stafford, that we first began to see the likes of the Czech Air Force appear on the display circuit after the fall of the Eastern Bloc. Well, the man who remembers those days with great affection, I'm sure, and perhaps with the